Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. So, fun fact about me, I used to be that girl that every December I would set New Year's resolutions. Like probably, sometimes like lots and lots and lots of them. Just write down things. And then usually by the end of January, sometimes sooner, sometimes I'd go longer, I would usually forget about them. Now, some of them I would probably take on longer. Going to the gym, I never was one of those ones that got a membership in January. I actually usually didn't get memberships in January. It would be some other time of the year. I always loved the end of January at a gym because it always got emptier. Anyways, so I was one of those people that would always set New Year's resolutions. And most of the time, they would be forgotten. However, I am that girl that sets goals. I love goal setting and I love setting intentions for the year, even the day or like in months. So I find that having goals helps keep me focused on where I want to go. 2 years ago, when my son wasn't in school yet, I didn't really have many goals. I was doing my work a little bit, like very, very part-time because my son was home and I was spending time with him. And then when my husband was done work, he would take the kids and I would work for like 2 hours a day. Or actually, it was only 2 hours a day twice a week, so 4 hours. And it was usually working with clients or doing my podcast. So a lot of that time was pretty much taken up. So I didn't have a lot of goal setting, and any me time was usually me just recharging because I was on go so often. So without having a really good focus, I was feeling drained and really just not myself. I had no focus or direction going on, right? Like, so I just, every day I'd wake up and I'm like, oh, it's another day. And it felt the same and it just didn't feel good. However, starting last year, once my son started going to school, I got to start, we talk about hitting that reset button. I reset it hard. I was like, okay, what is my morning routine going to look like? And of course, I rejig it and things like that. And this year, I'm even goal setting pretty much like I used to, where, you can write down all your dreams. And actually, before you do that, you can take, do a mind map. I'm not sure if you've heard of that before, but, it's just, what does this year look like to you? And just writing down things. You could put in on the middle of the page, 2023 and circle it. And then what would this year look like? What would make you go, wow? And put that up there. What goals do you want to have and things like that. And then I take the top 5 that make me want to go, like that are going to like, wow, if this happens, like I'm just going to go, wow, and like have a great time. Like it's wowing the pants off myself, if those happen. My top 5. Because if we focus on too many, then it gets a little crazy and we feel overwhelmed and then we don't accomplish anything. Just if you have more than 5 goals, it doesn't mean that those won't happen, but it's picking, a top. And if 5 sounds like too much, start with 1 or 3, like you get to choose. That's the fun thing. You're living your life. You get to choose how you show up, how you feel, and how you move into the future and how you live in the present. You get to choose. I'm just here sharing my own thoughts and experiences and, trying to live life to the fullest, loving myself and encouraging and motivating people along the way. So goals. Now, maybe you've heard of it. It's SMART goals. So specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So you can keep that in mind when you're setting goals. Because, for me, like here's an example, for me, one of my words is health this year. So it's like, I want to be healthy. So that's a good goal, but it's not really specific, right? Like, what does that mean? So it's breaking it down even further, eating, sleeping 8 to 9 hours a day. And, just lots of stress management. But what does, it's going even deeper than that. What does that stress management look like? Like, what am I doing for that? And so it's getting really, really clear. And then measuring it, it's like, well, how do you even know, when you've reached it? Achievable. Like, is it even something that's reachable? And then relevant is like, do you even want to do it in the first place? Sometimes we go and follow goals because we think we should or have to. And it's making sure that we set goals that are in line with our own heart, not somebody else's, or we think we should be doing. And then time bound, how much time do you need and things like that. So that's one really good way of looking at goals and getting clear. Another thing that I personally have found even more helpful than that, like that has definitely helped. And my biggest one is making sure that they're specific, right? And then knowing like, where's it going? Understanding our why. Why do we even want this goal in the first place? Why do we want it? Because from my own experience, life happens. And we have ups and downs and, get turned upside down. And if we don't get connected to our why we want it in the first place, we'll give up before we even begin. So here's an example, is when we were moving across the country, we had our house just about to be on the market. All the walls on the main floor were painted white. 2 young kids, and we're like, don't touch the walls. And yet, then and it was supposed to get put up on the market right after spring break. But then spring break happened, and then the school shut down because of worldly events that we could not control. So we had to wait patiently. Or I honestly, if you ask my husband, I was not waiting patiently. I was really bummed about the situation. I had this idea of what it looked like, what I wanted. I wanted to get to BC by the summer so we could enjoy living right by the water and just all that awesomeness. But life had different plans. So as much as I was feeling miserable, I didn't give up because I wanted to move so badly. So it definitely let me lean into fear a little bit, but then I had to move through it. And eventually we were able to sell our house and move. And it was only 2 months I had to wait before we could move forward. So I could have thrown in the towel. The moment's like, oh, whatever. The universe is telling me it's not worth it. I got to give up now. My dream, when something went wrong or not even wrong, not according to my plan, but sometimes there's a bigger plan that we don't see. Actually, a lot of the time there's a bigger plan that we don't see. So it's really getting connected to your why. Why do you want it in the first place? It's so important to know your why, and not just a little bit. I want to feel good. Why do you want to feel good? I'm going back to my own healthy reason, right? It's why do I want to feel good? Right? What would that mean to my life? So, getting really, really crystal clear on your why is so important when you're setting goals. And I really think that that's why sometimes New Year's resolutions don't work out all the time, right? We just we want to do better. We know we want something different in our life. But we haven't really dug deep to see why why we want it in the first place. And maybe it's because we don't treat them like goals and we don't look at them like SMART goals, right? Are they specific? We just kind of write down something. Or do we even want them in the first place, right? Are they relevant to us? Measurable. Are they even measurable? So I think that is why I've thrown resolutions out the window years ago. I think at least 5, possibly more. However, I found goal setting to be awesome. Now, if you set New Year's resolutions, hey, I'm happy for you. I'm cheering you on if they work for you. However, if you're the type of person like I was, where I was doing, I'd write them down. It was something I did every December near the end between Christmas and New Year's, where I'm okay, where do I want this new year? What do I want to, do? And just kind of jot things off without really thinking it through, and then not even looking at them again. Think about goal setting. And actually, you can turn your New Year's resolutions into goals. You just need to take a little bit more time with them. So instead of calling them New Year's resolutions, call them 2023 or whatever year it is, goals for you, right? Because you might be listening to this a little later. So taking that and be like, okay, whatever year this is where these are my goals for this year. And then go deeper. Because New Year's resolutions can be goals if you start looking at them differently. So if you plan to set New Year's resolutions and you're like, oh, wait a second, maybe I could change it up this year or try something different. You don't have to throw them all out the window. Just change your perspective on them. Change the way you look at them and how, you go deeper. It's like, so not just, I'll go to the gym this year. Well, when are you going to go to the gym? How often do you want to go to the gym? Or I'm going to eat better. Well, what does that mean? Are you going to a plant-based diet? Are you cutting out sugar? Are you not going to having takeout as often? What does that look like to you? And get really clear on what it looks like. Remember, specific. That's the big one, in my opinion, on the SMART goals. But they all matter. And then why? Why do you want to, whatever it is you want? Maybe it's taking care of yourself more. Why do you want to take care of yourself more or spend more time taking care of you? Or maybe it's finding a significant other or a partner in life. But why? Why do you want that? For me, I always wanted that my whole life. And the moment that I'm like, I'm good without a man, I finally started loving me. That's when I actually found my husband. So sometimes we're looking outside of ourselves for something when really what we need to do is look within. So it's looking at your goals and wondering like, what is it, like why? Why do I want this? Right? I was chasing after this idea of having a partner, a boyfriend, because I was missing something inside of me. And that was love for myself. So it really does get, it's really good to ask yourself why. Why am I setting this goal? What does it mean to me if I actually achieve this? So again, don't pick more than 5 goals. You can always have more, write them down, but pick your top 5 at the most. Some people only do 3. And then here comes the fun part. I'm going to let you in a little secret because this is what I actually share with my WOW membership. And I want to let you know on this one as well. So you have your top 5 goals or less. And then you put action steps underneath it. Put 5 action steps if you can. But you might only know the first one. And the first year I did this was the year that we decided we were going to move across the country to BC from Ontario. And wow, that was life-changing for me. I literally had 3 things under it. One was call the realtor and ask, like, what are the steps? Another one was find a realtor in BC, like where we wanted to move. Oh, and declutter the house. There's 3 of those. The first one, though, was definitely talk to the realtor to see, like, what steps it was, because we never moved from a house to a house. The first one was apartment where we were renting to a house. So it was the first time for us there, selling a house, and then also moving across the country. And that first step literally opened everything. So even though you might not know all your steps, just stepping forward with one step can literally open up like an amazing gateway to your dreams. So one step at a time, one goal at a time, if it stresses you out even thinking about goals. And you can even just set your intention for the year. Pick a word of the year. I mentioned mine is service and health. Because without health, I'm not going to be of service to others. So I actually picked 2 this year. So I wish you all the best on your goal setting and all your fun dreams and adventures for this year. I'm here cheering you on, and I look forward to hearing from you and, being part of your journey. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.